fans, to your speeding bulletin for the week July 12th, July 18th, 2013. A week which saw the release of the Man of Steel Blu-ray cover artwork, the Superboy Season 3 DVD release, and the start of San Diego Comic-Con. Let's jump in and take a closer look. Amazon.com has revealed the cover artwork for the various editions of Man of Steel set to be released on Blu-ray and DVD later this year. Man of Steel will be available as a 2-disc special edition DVD, Blu-ray 3D, Blu-ray DVD combo pack, and a Blu-ray DVD combo pack, which is also available as an exclusive action figure gift set. Expected to be released in October, you can pre-order your Man of Steel Blu-ray or DVD from the Superman homepage online store now. Over the next few weeks, Man of Steel will stop screening in many major cinema chains across the USA, Canada and the UK. However, that hasn't stopped the film from taking in an estimated $619 million at the box office to date. According to figures at boxofficemojo.com, having now been in release for 1 month, Man of Steel has grossed almost $281 million in the USA, with international figures standing at around $338 million at the start of the week. The movie just opened in Brazil and is yet to open in Japan, so those figures will go up. Henry Cavill and Zack Snyder will both be attending the Warner Bros. And DC Entertainment Superman's 75th anniversary celebration party at Comic-Con International. The DC WB Superman party will be held tonight, Friday, from 8:30 to midnight at the Hard Rock Hotel Float Rooftop Bar, while the Superman's 75th anniversary celebration panel will take place inside room 6A at 4:15 PM on Saturday, July 20th in the San Diego Convention Center. DC Comics and Warner Bros. Also have a display showcasing Superman costumes from a range of live-action incarnations, from Superman the Movie, Lois and Clark, Smallville, Superman Returns, and Man of Steel. DC Entertainment's president Diane Nelson spoke with The Hollywood Reporter about where Warner Bros. Are at in creating more films based on DC Comics characters. As for why she thinks Man of Steel worked as a movie, she said, "I think Chris Nolan and Zack Snyder really did give fans what they felt on some level they didn't get at least partially in the last Superman film. People wanted to see Superman kick ass, and he does in this movie." Read the complete interview at HollywoodReporter.com. Mackenzie Gray, the actor who played Jack Sir in Man of Steel, spoke with ComicBookTherapy.com about his role in the movie, his thoughts on a prequel, and reveals details on some deleted scenes involving his character. Check out the 3-part interview at ComicBookTherapy.com. Film Sketcher has published a collection of images from Man of Steel concept artist Warren Flanagan, who worked on the Smallville destruction sequence, the look for Jor-El's command key, and the DNA extractor used by Jack Sir. We knew it was coming, and now it's here. The guys at How It Should Have Ended have put together their take on the Man of Steel movie. Take a close look.
Hey Clark, you thinking about your childhood? You look like you're thinking about your childhood. Well, I'll be over here if anyone needs me. Justice League.
The recently launched Tab app Elite this week received a new update adding new content and physical figures based on Man of Steel. The free update is available now, and a new booster pack containing 2 new figures, Superman and General Zod, have hit store shelves. The new update incorporates new DC Comics characters including Faora, Jor-El, Namek, Jack Sir and more. Tab app Elite is available for download on the App Store and from Google Play Store. Set for an early 2014 release, Warner Home Video revealed that their next animated movie after Justice League The Flashpoint Paradox will be Justice League War. A Warner Home Video representative confirmed via Twitter that Justice League War will be an adaptation of the Justice League origin comic book story written by Jeff Johns with art by Jim Lee and Scott Williams, which launched the New 52 era. More info on this movie is expected to come out of Comic-Con. Warner Home Video provided us with an earlier look at the trailer for Necessary Evil, the upcoming new documentary that's all about the supervillains of DC Comics. Featuring appearances by some of the biggest names in comics, film and television, Necessary Evil arrives on Blu-ray and DVD from Warner Home Video and DC Comics on October 25th. We'll let you know when it's available for pre-order. In TV news, Warner Home Video announced the upcoming DVD release of Super Friends Legacy of Superpowers Season 6. The The single disc DVD release will contain all 18 animated shorts from the 1981 The World's Greatest Super Friends. Scheduled to be released on October 8th, you can now pre-order the Super Friends Legacy of Superpowers Season 6 DVD from the Superman homepage online store. Warner Home Video also announced the upcoming DVD DC Supervillains Superman Worlds at War, which will collect together some of the best villain episodes of Superman the Animated Series and Justice League. The two-disc collection will include Tools of the Trade, Blast from the Past, Apocalypse Now, Little Girl Lost, Absolute Power, Legacy, Twilight and Destroyer. Scheduled to be released on September 24th, you can pre-order yours from the Superman homepage store now. Speaking of DVD releases, the final collection of Young Justice episodes is now available in the Young Justice Invasion Game of Illusion Season 2 Part 2 DVD. The team go undercover to investigate LexCorp and its newfound partnership with the Reach, the result of which could shift the balance of power forever. Order Young Justice Invasion Game of Illusion Season 2 Part 2 on DVD from our online store. Also, Season 3 of the Adventures of Superboy TV series is now available to order on DVD. The Boy of Steel's third season ushered in more changes as the show redefined itself for a new decade. The 26-episode 3-disc collection can be ordered direct from Warner Brothers. Erica Durant spoke on Canadian TV about the timeless appeal of Superman and the evolution of Lois Lane.
And what I loved about the incarnation that our team worked on was showcasing Lois as to being his equal, and the type of heroism it takes to do the crazy things and throw yourself into the path of all this potential devastation, and yet you don't have any special skills. You're just human. Right. You're just plain old human, and you're trying to do what's right.
Well, and in your incarnation, she was never the damsel in distress, really, right? Which is interesting, and that's a clear choice.
Yeah.
Which is positive messaging, which I think is important.
In comic book news, the Superman Files will celebrate the triumph and trials of 75 years of the Man of Steel in the most comprehensive and complete chronicle of his life ever created. Produced in conjunction with DC Entertainment and Warner Brothers Consumer Products, Andrews McMill Publishing is proud to present a groundbreaking volume outlining the history and evolution of the heroic icon. From recounting Superman's birth on Krypton as Kal-El and his voyage to Earth onwards, the Superman Files provides a fascinating look at the enigmatic figure that millions of fans call their own superhero. With a recommended retail price of $75, the 312-page hardcover volume will be released in November and is available to order now from our online store. In a personal letter to his fans on Facebook, Supergirl artist Mahmoud Azra announces that he is no longer the regular artist on the Maid of Might's monthly comic book and explains how poor health was a factor in his moving on. On behalf of the fans, I'd like to thank Mahmoud for his fantastic work on Supergirl and wish him well in his future work and continued good health. Superman comic books we reviewed this week included Adventures of Superman Chapter 11, which was reviewed by Sean Morrissey, who said, "Its charm and wit hold it together," and he gave it a 4 out of 5. Smallville Season 11 Chapter 55 was reviewed by Michael J. Petty, who said, "I wasn't feeling it as much with this chapter," and he gave it a 3 out of 5. Our other comic book reviews should be up on the site shortly for this past week. Superman comics available this week from July 17th include Adventures of Superman Chapter 12 digital comic has been available since July 15th. Injustice Gods Among Us Chapter 27 digital comic has been available since July 16th. The Trinity War continues in Justice League of America number 6, which is available in a variant cover, a digital combo pack, and a black and white variant cover. Supergirl number 22. Smallville Season 11 Chapter 56 digital comic should be available July 19th. And Superman Phantom Zone trade paperback. We've got some great Man of Steel items for those headed back to school. Check out this cool looking Man of Steel backpack for just $16.88. And what about this Man of Steel lunch sack available for just $14? These and other great back to school Man of Steel items are available from your one-stop Superman shop, the Superman homepage online store at supermanhomepage.com/shop. It's Comic-Con time at the moment, and there's already plenty of news coming out of San Diego. A larger-than-life Man of Steel Superman statue is on display at the Lego booth, and made completely out of Lego, it stands over 7 feet tall. The Lego booth is also the place to get your limited edition black-suited Man of Steel minifigure. The pop culture event runs July 18th to July 21st at the San Diego Convention Center. The Cleveland Public Library currently has an exhibit celebrating Superman titled From Cleveland to the World in a Single Bound, the 75th anniversary of the Man of Steel. The exhibit is currently on display until September 14th. Visit the cpl.org website for more information. Warner Brothers Consumer Products has partnered with Under Armour, the leader in athletic performance apparel, footwear and accessories, to empower athletes and unleash their alter egos. Inspired by the popular DC Comics superheroes like Superman, Batman and Wonder Woman, the Under Armour Alter Ego collection is available now on UA.com. Mashable.com has put together an infographic on what they think it costs for Clark Kent to be Superman in real life. Check out the infographic to compare the annual costs of being Superman in 1938, his comic book debut, and 2013, taking inflation into account. And that's all the Superman news there was for the week July 12th to July 18th. Look for more Comic-Con news on the website soon. I'm Steve Younis from SupermanHomepage.com.
Great Scott! Great Scott! Great Scott!
Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Great Scott. Today my subject will be how it should have ended. That's right, the guys over at howitshouldhaveended.com with their millions of followers on YouTube and their millions of subscribers to their page certainly don't need me to advertise for them, but in case you were unaware, How It Should Have Ended released its latest episode, and it was, of course, How Man of Steel Should Have Ended. I've been waiting for it myself for quite a while. I knew it was coming, and it did not disappoint as I expected it wouldn't. Those guys are hilarious. They're talented guys. They've spent a lot of time perfecting their formula. They do the whole hero cafe thing where Batman and Superman with the red pants sit at a diner table and discuss different things that happen. They've discussed other movies. They've discussed Avengers. They've discussed Iron Man. Other heroes have popped up at the superhero cafe, but to my eye, at least, it seems that the guys over at How It Should Have Ended are big fans of both Batman and Superman, and therefore DC. And I love the way they use Batman and Superman in many of their videos to do a little clip at the end of whatever movie they're showing, and they have a good time with it. Now, I did want to address a few things, as some people who have viewed this video will no doubt think that the How It Should Have Ended guys came up with a lot of these theories on their own, as far as, why didn't Jor-El put in an image of Lara, the consciousness of Lara, so that Kal-El would have his mother and his father to guide him in his future life? I thought this myself. It does seem like it's a jerk move, but I would say this, and obviously the How It Should Have Ended stuff is hilarious, it's funny, it's all for fun, it's a joke, and it's a little like Weird Al Yankovic or Robot Chicken. I've discussed this kind of thing before. I think anybody who does a send-up of something is clearly a fan of that thing. They're doing it out of love. They're doing it because they enjoy what it is that they're seeing, and they enjoy kind of tearing it apart, just like most of us fans do. We have kind of geek arguments and nerd debates over whether he could catch Lois as she's falling from the helicopter or whether it would chop her into bits. You know, whether he slows down an instant before grabbing them and therefore he's able to grab them at super speed without hurting them. You know, those types of things are part of the fun. So I think when Robot Chicken or when How It Should Have Ended or whatever releases one of these, you know, some people consider mockeries, some people consider, you know, attacks on a film or whatever, I think it's just a goof, it's a joke, it's something they're doing for fun, and I love it. It's highly enjoyable. I would say that we don't know whether there is a Lara consciousness. It wasn't stated. It wasn't said that there wasn't. It looks as though there isn't, because why wouldn't she have come out? So in the sequel, just like they do with many sequels, we could find out that she's there too when she comes out. You know, in the original films, the Superman 1 and 2, that were supposed to be filmed together and completed by Richard Donner before Donner was fired and Lester was hired, Marlon Brando, when Lester came in, decided that he did not want to be involved in the franchise if Donner wasn't going to complete his vision. So he left. So then they had to bring in Susanna York to take over, and she was a Lara consciousness. Now before that, we had only seen the Jor-El consciousness in the Fortress, so the argument could have been made, even back then, oh, this is just a MacGuffin they're using in this film. Why wouldn't she have showed up in the first one if she was there the whole time. And that happens in a lot of films. And back then, and even now, when people talk about, well, Man of Steel was okay, but nothing is ever going to come close to the originals with Christopher Reeve. The truth is that those films get a lot of forgiveness. There are so many plot holes, so many MacGuffins, so many things that people could complain about, but don't. And the reason for that, I think, is nostalgia and loyalty and love of that, and just having it in your childhood and knowing it's such a big part of your life. And a lot of people just can't release that. The guys at How It Should Have Ended even do a little thing about that at the end, where the Superman at the diner says, "Oh, I did what everybody expected me to do. I flew out into space, smiled for the camera, gave a little wink," which is what people expected. And I hear a lot of critics and a lot of people who had a problem with the movie saying, not enough humor, not enough charm like the originals, not enough Marlon Brando, not enough Christopher Reeve. Obviously, they're not saying those things, but it sounds almost like they want Otis and they want goofy, campy humor and things. And that stuff doesn't fly in movies anymore. It has less to do with whether Richard Donner and Christopher Reeve were the best movies ever made, and more to do with where we are in terms of film development these days. You know, films have become much more, you know, confusing in terms of there's a lot more going on. There's a lot more story. There's a lot more depth. Back then, it was cool to rescue a cat from a tree and fly out and smile. It was cool to have, you know, and that's one of my favorite lines ever. "Whoa, Jim, that's a bad outfit. Whoa!" I love it, but those kind of things don't always go over these days. And the truth is, Marvel gets away with a lot of humor in their films, but they're also not taken incredibly seriously. And I think that argument can be made for why everybody made such a big deal about the damage done in Man of Steel, but no one seems to care that just as much, if not more, damage was done in the Avengers. They flew all over the city and destroyed many different buildings, and many things fell down, and cars were blowing up everywhere. So yes, they had a small team that was out trying to usher people out of destroyed areas, so you could make the argument that Superman didn't save people, and they make the joke even in How It Should Have Ended. "Oh my God, can you imagine if I would have had to fight them on the ground? Thousands of people might have died." We don't know that thousands of people died, and I've said already, I'm pretty sure, and from the look of the buildings they smashed into at the very end, they were empty. The city had been evacuated at that point. Sure, there were onlookers. There will always be people. Even in Hurricane Katrina, we had people, even though they were told for weeks beforehand that they needed to get out, that refused to leave and just stayed there, and then they had to be rescued later. Or they were just watching, or they drowned, or whatever, because they didn't get out when they were told to. And that's going to happen in any disaster situation. And that happened here, I think, in this movie. We saw that most of the city was evacuated, and most of the destruction was done by Zod's ship with the beam long before Superman even knew what to do. And that brings up another interesting point. It's funny, and it's a joke, and it's great, and I love it. That How It Should Have Ended was when Superman was given 24 hours to save the world, he should have just flown his ship up there and activated the wormhole and sent them into the Phantom Zone right off the bat. But he couldn't do that because he didn't know until after he went up there, lost his powers, spoke with Zod, and Lois spoke with Jor-El and was told how it would work. It was a little bit of a mystery. She was given the information, and Kal-El didn't have it. And Jor-El, when he met Kal-El, didn't know that this was going to happen, so he couldn't give it to him at that point. So in terms of the plot and in terms of the way the movie unfolded, there was no way for him to know until after all that happened. And by that time, Zod had already begun destroying Metropolis, and the world engine was out in the Indian Ocean, so there was no way for him to have done it that quickly. So I think, again, it's funny and it's fun, but you know, these things that people bring up are things that could not have been helped in the case of this particular plot. But check it out if you haven't seen it. It's howitshouldhaveended.com. Again, they don't need my advertising. You know, my fives of viewers, even if they haven't seen it, won't really drive up their stock at all. But go ahead and check it out and let me know what you think. There's lots of other videos on there as well. I check them out whenever they release a new one, and I love it a lot. And we'll talk again soon. Thanks, everybody, for watching. And remember, I can fix the city because I'm Batman. I'm Rich Batman.